Welcome to Guided by Faith. It's Wednesday. I'm your host, Jay Holland. I hope you're having a great week. I want to give you a quick reminder. If you are looking to have a deeper personal time with the Lord, one of the things that I wrote late this past year and is now available on Amazon is Renewed, the 365-day Christian gratitude journal. And it'd be an incredible supplement with your daily Guided by Faith devotion to spend a little bit of time. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes per day of just having a guided scripture and prompt to help you think through and pay attention to all of the things that God has done for you and to grow and be transformed by gratitude. So you can get that at Amazon.com. There's a link in my show notes. Renewed, the 365-day gratitude journal, if you think it will help you. I think it would help you. Let's continue looking through the passage in Romans chapter 8 that we have been addressing this week. We talked about how Paul says that I consider the sufferings of this present world are not worth comparing to the glory that's to be revealed in us. And then he says that we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now. So this idea that creation itself, like it's not just that you and I are suffering, but creation itself is groaning. Creation itself is under a curse. We see this in Genesis chapter 3, that God cursed the land. Thorns and bristles grow up. And so we are in a world that's marked not just by the immediate effects of sin, but of also the long-term effects of sin, of the consequences of rebellion against God. And so we see that creation itself is groaning. So not only are the humans groaning, but creation. And I was thinking through examples of creation groaning. And one of those that just came to my mind was famine, and how we live on an earth that should be able to produce all of the resources needed for all of the people on there. But you have weather patterns and you have things that happen, and you have where land is stripped of soil, or there might be a massive drought. And so you have crops unable to grow, wild grasses and different foods unable to grow. Animals starve, and then people end up starving from things like that. And to me, this is one of the examples of creation groaning, the curse, the droughts that you have, the famines that you have, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, mass flooding that you have. This is also creation groaning. Additionally, I see we're a family that was affected by childhood cancer. And by God's grace, my son has been healed from it and he's doing well. But I'm aware that we're really fortunate that for, hundreds and thousands of years before my son, there were children who got acute lymphoblastic leukemia who did not make it, who died. There are children today, there's adults today who are suffering from sickness and disease, whether they be, viruses or bacteria or cancers. And to me, these are all other examples of creation groaning. And I want to remind you, this is not the natural state of the world, and it's not the final state of the world. It's the intermediate state of the world. And it's directly tied to the sin and rebellion that humanity is under. And it's a huge thing. It should be at least a huge thing on our hearts when we see disasters, when we see people suffering. It should not be something we're like, oh, too bad for them. We should have the heart of God. We should be the hands and feet of Jesus to the degree that you're able to. Now, I want to just be honest about something. We live in a time where you can be aware of far more things than you can do anything about. I know about, starving and famine that's happening in North Africa. I learn about earthquakes that happen in the Pacific. I learn about droughts and blizzards and tornadoes and all of these things that just get to where it's beyond my ability to do anything about. And sometimes it feels like it's beyond my ability to even know how to pray, except God help the world. And you might be this as well. What I want to encourage you to do is take it back very, very local. You live in a particular neighborhood, in a particular community, and in your area and in your school, in your workplace, there are elements of creation groaning. And you and I get to be on a very local level part of the redemptive work of Jesus. We know that one day Jesus is going to come back and he's going to set all things new. And until then, one of the responses that you and I can have to the groaning of creation is to help and set right whatever it is that we can. God's given us his creative ability. And some of you listening, man, I hope that you go to school, that you learn math, that you learn science, that you come up with solutions, engineering, medical, biological solutions to the suffering and groaning of this world. Let's help roll that back as sons and daughters of God. But even more so, you live around a people that are suffering. And we want to model Jesus in that when the people next to us are groaning, we're there with them. When people are suffering, you're there with them. And don't worry about saying the perfect words. You're not going to say the perfect words. There are no perfect words when somebody's suffering. I've been through a lot of personal and family suffering, and I remember almost nothing that anybody said to me. But I do remember people being there. I remember people bringing meals. I remember people cleaning my house. I remember people just coming and being and sitting with me, asking how I'm doing. And this is what you can do as a small agent of Jesus in the midst of a suffering world. And if you learn to do this on a small and local level, on a personal level, on a neighborhood level, on a community level, maybe you just might end up being the kind of world changers that helps alleviate suffering on a major level. But don't get overwhelmed by the major. It's ultimately God's responsibility to set creation right, but it's your responsibility to mimic Jesus, the suffering servant that comes alongside people and helps alleviate whatever level of suffering you can as, again, the hands and feet and heart of Jesus. To me, this kind of lesson, what it does is instead of just acknowledging that the world's bad, it helps me see my part in it. I helped make the world bad through my sin, through my rebellion, through my laziness, and I get to help redeem the world on behalf of Jesus as his agent, as I see suffering and I try to come alongside it and let Jesus make all things new. That's my challenge for you today, and do it in your school, do it at your work, do it in your neighborhood, do it with your family. Come look, have eyes open for who's suffering, come alongside and help make it right.